The cloud rolled away. The moonlight, astonishingly bright, showed up everything almost as if it were broad day. The two horses and the two riders were galloping neck to neck and knee to knee, just as if they were in a race. Indeed, Bree said afterward that a finer race had never been seen in all of Calormen. Shasta now gave himself up for lost, and began to wonder whether lions killed you quickly or played with you like a cat plays with a mouse, and how much would it hurt? At the same time, one sometimes does this at the most frightful moments. He noticed everything. He saw that the other rider was a very small, slender person, mail-clad. The moon shone on the metal of the mail, and riding magnificently. He had no beard. Something flat and shining was spread out before them. Before Shasta had time even to guess what it was, there was a great splash, and he found his mouth half full of salt water. The shining thing had been a long inlet of the sea. Both horses were swimming, and the water was up to Shasta's knees. There was an angry roaring behind them, and looking back, Shasta saw a great, shaggy, and terrible shape crouched on the water's edge. But only one. We must have shaken off the other lion, he thought. The lion apparently did not think its prey worth getting wet. At any rate, it made no attempt to take to the water in pursuit. The two horses, side by side, were now well out into the middle of the creek, and the opposite shore could clearly be seen. The Tarkan had not yet spoken a word. But he will, thought Shasta, as soon as we have landed. What am I to say? I must begin to think of a story. Then suddenly two voices spoke at his side. "Oh, I am so tired," said the one. "Hold your tongue, Hwin. Don't be a fool," said the other. I'm dreaming, thought Shasta. I could have sworn that other horse spoke. Soon the horses were no longer swimming, but walking. And soon, with a great sound of water running off their sides and tails, and with a great crunching of pebbles under 8 hooves, they came out on the farther beach of the inlet. The Tarkan, to Shasta's surprise, showed no wish to ask questions. He did not even look at Shasta, but seemed anxious to urge his horse straight on. Bree, however, at once shouldered himself into the other horse's way. "Brouhaha!" he snorted. "Steady there. I heard you. I did. There's no good pretending, ma'am. I heard you. You're a talking horse, a Narnian horse just like me." "What's it got to do with you if she is?" said the strange rider fiercely, laying hand on sword hilt. But the voice in which the words were spoken had already told Shasta something. "Why, it's only a girl!" he exclaimed. "And what business is it of yours if I am only a girl?" snapped the stranger. "You're probably only a boy, a rude, common little boy, a slave, probably, who has stolen his master's horse." "Well, that's all you know," said Shasta. "He is not a thief, little Tarkina," said Bree. "At least, if there has been any stealing, you might just as well say that I stole him. And as for its not being my business, you would not expect me to pass a lady of my own race in this strange country without speaking to her. It is only natural I should." I think it's very natural, too, said the mare. I wish you'd hold your tongue, Hwin, said the girl. Look at the trouble you've got us into. I don't know about trouble, said Shasta. You can clear off as soon as you like. We shan't keep you. No, you shan't, said the girl. What quarrelsome creatures these humans are, said Bree to the mare. They're as bad as mules. Try to talk a little sense. I take it, ma'am, your story is the same as mine. Captured in early youth, years of slavery among the Calormenes. Too true, sir, said the mare with a melancholy whinny. And now, perhaps, escape. Tell him to mind his own business, Hwin, said the girl. No, I won't, Aravis, said the mare, putting her ears back. This is my escape as much as yours, and I'm sure a noble war horse like this is not going to betray us. We are trying to escape, to get to Narnia. And so, of course, are we, said Bree. Of course, you guessed that at once. A little boy in rags riding, or trying to ride, a war horse at dead of night couldn't mean anything but an escape of some sort. And if I may say so, a high-born Tarkina riding alone at night, dressed up in her brother's armor, well, and very anxious for everyone to mind their own business and ask no questions. Well, if that's not fishy, call me a cob. All right, then, said Aravis, you've guessed it. Hwin and I are running away. We are trying to get to Narnia. And now, what about it? Why, in that case, what is to prevent us all going together? Said Bree. I trust, Madam Hwin, you will accept such assistance and protection as I may be able to give you on the journey. Why do you keep talking to my horse instead of to me? Asked the girl. Excuse me, Tarkina, said Bree, with just the slightest backward tilt of his ears, but that's Calormene talk. We are free Narnians, Hwin and I suppose if you are running away to Narnia, you want to be one too. In that case, Hwin is not your horse any longer. One might just as well say you are her human. The girl opened her mouth to speak, and then stopped. Obviously, she had not quite seen it in that light before. Still, she said after a moment's pause, I don't know that there's so much point in all going together. Aren't we more likely to be noticed? Less, said Bree. And the mare said, Oh, do let's. I should feel much more comfortable. We're not even certain of the way. I'm sure a great charger like this knows far more than we do. Oh, come on, Bree, said Shasta. Let them go their own way. Can't you see they don't want us? We do, said Hwin. Look here, said the girl. I don't mind going with you, Mr. Warhorse, but what about this boy? How do I know he's not a spy? Why don't you say at once that you think I'm not good enough for you, said Shasta. Be quiet, Shasta, said Bree. The Tarkina's question is quite reasonable. I'll vouch for the boy, Tarkina. He has been true to me and a good friend, and he's certainly either a Narnian or an Archenlander. All right, then, let's go together. But she didn't say anything to Shasta, and it was obvious that she wanted Bree, not him. "Splendid," said Bree. "And now that we've got the water between us and those dreadful animals, what about you two humans taking off our saddles and our all having a rest and hearing one another's stories?" Both the children unsaddled their horses, and the horses had a little grass, and Aravis produced rather nice things to eat from her saddlebag. But Shasta sulked and said no thanks, and that he wasn't hungry, and he tried to put on what he thought very grand and stiff manners. But as a fisherman's hut is not usually a good place for learning grand manners, the result was dreadful. And he half knew that it was not a success, and then became sulkier and more awkward than ever. Meanwhile, the two horses were getting on splendidly. They remembered the very same places in Narnia. The grasslands up above Beaver's Dam. And they found that they were some sort of second cousins once removed. This made things more and more uncomfortable for the humans until at last Bree said, "And now, Tartina, tell us your story. And don't hurry it. I'm feeling comfortable now." Aravis immediately began, sitting quite still and using a rather different tone and style from her usual one. For in Kellerman, storytelling, whether the stories are true or made up, is a thing you are taught, just as English boys and girls are taught essay writing. The difference is that people want to hear the stories, whereas I never heard of anyone who wanted to read the essays. End of chapter 2.